Hello and welcome back to the channel. This week we're going to the retirement mailbag and we're going to answer a question that was written in by Brad. And Brad asks, how does retiring early affect CPP calculations? If you retire at 55, are all the years following 55 to 65 counted as zero income for the purpose of determining your average CPP contributions and therefore your payout in retirement? If so, and you start collecting CPP at 60, would that remove 5 years of zero contributions, or would 60 to 65 still be counted as zero CPP contributions for the average? This is a great question. CPP is a bit of a complicated program. The calculations can be a little bit tricky. So I'm going to step through Brad's question and illustrate an example using a tool called the CPP Calculator that you can use to help figure out what your Canada pension plan benefit will be based on zero income years, retiring early, and different scenarios like that. And if we haven't met yet, my name is Mark Walhout, and I created this channel to share ideas and concepts that I'm using to help people with retirement every day. If you want to get more videos like these, consider subscribing to the channel and hit the bell icon so you're alerted when new videos are posted. So Brad has a few elements in his question. We'll take them one at a time. To Brad's first question, the impact of zero contribution years, the answer is yes. If you do retire at age 55 and you have no other employment income after age 55 or between that age and when you begin taking benefits, those years will be counted as zero contribution years for the purposes of calculating your CPP benefit. One thing to keep in mind is that there is a dropout provision. Basically, the CPP program allows you to drop out 17% of your lowest CPP contribution months over your working career. So having zero contributions during a number of years during your contribution period will impact your benefit, but a number of those years could be dropped out of the calculation, so it may not actually end up impacting you a ton. There's also dropout provisions for years where you're providing care for a child under the age of 7, or if you were disabled and collecting the CPP disability pension. And as we work through the example, you'll see kind of how this is illustrated in action. And now we'll move on to the second element of Brad's question. Would starting CPP at 60 remove 5 years of zero contributions, or would 60 to 65 still be counted as zero contributions for the average? So we'll talk a little bit about the contribution period. So your contribution period for CPP starts at your age 18 and it ends at the earliest of the 3 following dates. First is when you turn age 70. It's the oldest age where you get the maximum benefit from collecting the CPP pension, and contributions to the plan no longer count towards increasing your benefit. The second stop date for the contribution period is when you actually begin collecting your pension. You can begin collecting as early as age 60, and again, 70 is the age at which your benefit is maximized. So that's sort of the other bookend of that collection option period. And then the third date that would stop your contribution period would be the date that you pass away. And this would be used for the purposes of calculating the survivor pension that would go to your surviving spouse. Survivor's pension is beyond the scope of today's video, but if you have a question about CPP survivor's pension, you can certainly use the link below to drop it in the mailbag and we can address it in a future video. So to answer Brad's question, yes, starting CPP at age 60 would result in less zero contribution years, but starting early would also reduce your benefit. The best way to estimate what your benefit is going to be is by using an online tool, and there is a free available online tool that was created by another financial planner, David Field, as well as Doug Runchie, who is a CPP expert. He's based on the West Coast, and the tool is a fairly simple self-service tool that you can use to calculate what your Canada Pension Plan benefit will be. In order to use the CPP calculator, you'll need to have your statement of contributions handy. You can input the values in the data collection screen, and for the purposes of Brad's question, I've assumed a retiree, we're going to call him Johnny, has made 100% of the maximum CPP contributions each year up to the yearly maximum pensionable earnings throughout his working life between age 24 and age 55 when he eventually retires. The contribution period, as we discussed earlier, starts at age 18. We'll assume for this example that the pensioner went to university and didn't begin working fully until they graduated. So they're going to have some 0 years at the front end of their contribution period, and contributions are going to stop when they turn age 55. And there's a phrase I use in here, the yearly maximum pensionable earnings. Basically, this is the amount that if you earn over that amount in any year during your contribution period, your employer would have had to remit the maximum CPP contribution on your behalf. So if you earned over that amount, your employer would have had to contribute the maximum amount to CPP. If you make less than YMPE, then then the contributions in that year to the CPP program would be less than 100%, and that would impact your benefit down the road. If Brad had lower contribution years in between, if he took a few years off to start a business and wasn't working, took a sabbatical to go back to school, these would also have an impact on his calculation. And recall also from earlier in the video, if he was off on disability and was collecting the CPP disability benefit or was raising a child under the age of 7, that would also impact his benefit. So we'll assume after age 55, Brad's making no more contributions to CPP, and now he's trying to make a decision. Should he take it early to avoid more of those zero contribution years, or should he delay taking the benefit? And now we can see the results of the calculations show that if Brad begins taking his CPP at his regular claiming age of age 65, his estimate is around $1,090.84 per month. If Brad takes the benefit early at age 60, he's going to take an early uptake penalty of 0.6% per month or 7.2% per year, and his benefit would be estimated at $779.35. So how do zero contribution years matter as far as Brad's decision goes? His question centers around the decision whether to take CPP early and have less zero contribution years in his calculation, or have those zero contribution years in the calculation and take the CPP benefit later. So we'll go back to our numbers. We'll go back to the example. If Brad lives to around age 77, his cumulative lifetime Canada pension plan will be greater if he delays taking CPP to at least his normal claiming age of age 65, even with the $0 contribution years in his calculation. At around age 80, his cumulative CPP benefit is greater if he delays taking the benefit to age 70. If Brad lives all the way to age 95, Brad lives a nice long life, his total lifetime Canada pension plan benefit will be $380,000 or thereabouts if he started taking at age 60. It will be $471,000 or thereabouts if he started taking at age 65. And if he started taking at age 70, his total cumulative lifetime benefit will be $576,000. So big difference depending on when Brad takes up CPP if he does live a long life. So what are the key takeaways? This is a good question. It's a frequent question. People who are retiring early are wondering when they should begin taking CPP. They wonder what the impact of these low contribution years is going to be on their benefit. So the first key takeaway is that yes, zero contribution years to CPP are factored into your calculation. They will impact your benefit. Key takeaway number 2, even with zero contribution years, benefits do increase by waiting to take the benefit. If you have zero contribution years after retiring early and you take the benefit early, you're also going to encounter that early uptake penalty, which we discussed earlier. So you're going to need to balance this off against the desire to have less zero contribution years in your calculation. And then the third big takeaway, which is probably a good takeaway for any planning question, is that this decision needs to be individual. You should do the detailed work to figure out what your Canada pension plan benefit will be. Your statement of contributions and your estimate from Service Canada are a good place to start. Using the Canada Pension Plan Calculator is an awesome tool. It's a great step to take to make sure that you have a really good idea of what your benefit will be while you think about these decisions. And that's on the number side. The other side of this equation is lifestyle and personal needs. If you need to take a CPP benefit early, if you just need the money, this calculation of when your break-even point is and what your benefit's going to be at age 70, age 65, this becomes less important. If you need the money, you need the money. If you're in a situation where you have poor health, if you have a big mismatch in your ages between you and your spouse, these are other things that might factor into your decision of when to take CPP. But these are very individual. You can't make this decision based on watching a YouTube video or a simple example that I've illustrated here, or what your friends or neighbors are doing. So hopefully this video has been helpful. If you have more questions about CPP benefits, I encourage you to check out some links that I've included in the description section below, some great articles, and I'm going to put a link into the CPP calculator as well so you can check it out. If you want to have your question answered, you can answer a quick survey that I've included in the description section below as well. It's a quick form that you fill out, you put in your question, you put in your name, and I'll add it to the list of mailbag questions that we'll talk about in a future episode. Thanks for watching this video all the way to the end. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel, hit the bell icon so you're alerted when new videos are posted. Thanks again for watching, and I'll speak with you soon. Take care.